The Bread and Butter Collective is a collection of hospitality professionals working together to help strengthen our industry to build strong culture, community, and sustainability.
I'm Kalen McNeil.
And I'm Sam Jones. And this is the Bread and Butter Podcast.
Hello, I'm Kalen McNeil from Big Bull Burger.
And I'm Sam Jones from 2% Jazz. And we are from the Bread and Butter Collective.
Sam, we're talking about your origin story. I don't know it.
You don't know it. Wow.
No.
It's written in the sky. It's written in the sky.
It is? I didn't look up this morning.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about it, shall I?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything in particular you want to know? Or
I
you want me to just start from the beginning of time?
I've known you since we were at Camosun College in 1992. And it's not that we were friends or I remember seeing you on campus because you're very distinctive with your red beard. You're playing hacky sack in the credenza there, right by the cafeteria, I believe. And I don't know that we were in any class. I don't think we were in any classes together.
Oh, I didn't take any business classes.
Yeah, I was there on business.
Okay, I was doing art classes, sociology, smoking dope, and playing hacky sack. And I did that at Camosun for 7 years. And then I I did it for 5 years. 5 years. I got really good in 5 years. I didn't graduate from Camosun.
College is like a 2 to 3 year thing, right?
I kept changing my hey. This is my origin story.
Yeah,
I'm gonna blow it the way I want to.
You caught me off guard with the 7-year.
Well,
diploma.
It's okay. It gets worse. And then I transferred to UVic, and I spent 2 years there. That's where I got the 7 years full.
So you could have been a doctor?
I could have been a doctor. I am a doctor.
You are a doctor.
I'm a doctor of love. And so I kept changing all my majors all the time. And all throughout school, I was a cook usually, or bartender, or dishwasher, or something in the service industry. I've been working hospitality, I guess, since I was 14 years old. My first job was at McDonald's.
Great job.
Yeah, great first job.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if it is or not, because maybe that's the job that sets your expectations for other jobs you're going to get. And I often wonder if my first job was at a doctor's office, sweeping things up in the doctor's office, and with my education, maybe I would have been a doctor, but maybe I wouldn't have been enjoying my life so much. So anyway, after school, I kind of dropped out of school because I had this opportunity to buy this little kiosk, and this kiosk was called Cappuccinos.
Oh,
and
cool.
I was working there for
when was that?
2 years. I bought in '96.
Okay.
I was in part-time employee there.
Cappuccino. I love that name.
Oh, that was the first thing I changed, man. Sorry. This was...
you could have had 100 of them.
I'm sure that was the original owner's idea, but it never worked out for them, and that has never worked out for me. So I really loved making coffee in this little coffee kiosk, and every other job I'd had up until then, I usually took over the coffee program in some ways, trying to make it better. I began drinking coffee when I was really young with my dad in Vancouver. He would take me down the Commercial Drive, take me to Joe's Cappuccinos, and go shoot some stick when I was like 10, 11 years old. And drinking big, frothy, burnt cappuccinos was how I got into coffee. And then...
so you got a long history of coffee.
Yeah, well, my dad is the most caffeinated person I know. Even though he's not outwardly caffeinated, you know that you cut him and he bleeds brown. He has always had a cup of coffee in his hand ever since.
Did he like the cappuccino name?
I never asked him.
You just wanted it gone.
No, I bought it. I had him co-sign my loan for me. I dropped out of school so I could buy this thing.
Bro, out of school? You were in school for 7 years.
Okay, I finally ended my school career and I picked up another career.
Okay, good.
I decided to change lanes. And it was great. I had 2 employees that the company came with. I fired one almost right away because I caught him stealing time. It was the first person I fired, and that was great.
Time stealing is a serious,
Yeah, time stealing is awful.
Yeah.
But in this kiosk, I mean, origin stories are only really good if you have funny stories or if you can relate things to them. So when I was in this kiosk, which was on the corner of the Times Colonist property, right on Douglas Street, and again, 1996, and I think that VHA won't come after me for this right now. We'll see. All my electricity came underground in a conduit, and all my plumbing for this kiosk came from a garden hose that went under the walkway at the Times Colonist and just like attached to the outside garden tap.
Okay. All of your water, like you didn't. It was a one way, right? Water came in.
Well, water came in.
You did not send sewage out.
Oh,
right?
I did. I had a gray water. I had a gray water tank that I would have to change every day.
All right.
And I changed it every day and cleaned every day.
Yeah.
But
you just poured it into the.
It just went down the drain. I'm afraid.
This was way back when. People do not do this today.
No, it was awful, and it was really bad practice. Yeah. And I would never do anything like that now, ever. I'm the first one to get my backflow prevention things checked.
God, yes.
So I've got this kiosk, and I've got these computer speakers out, and I've got incredible tunes playing all the time, cranking out over to the bus stop to attract the bus stop people, and I would charge people for a change because I was at the bus stop, and this was when cash was king, and everyone needed exact change for the bus. So a lot of my customers weren't really customers; they were just asking me for a change. So I would charge them for a joke for a change. I would say, I'll give you change, but you need to give me a joke in exchange. If you're not going to buy anything, you can buy something, I'll give you change. If you're not buying anything, you're taking up valuable space in my lineup, and I'm going to charge you a joke. And even if people couldn't think of a joke, I give them a joke. They're like, I don't know any jokes. Give me change. I'm like, you don't know why the chicken crossed the road? Hint, hint, hint. Like, it can be anything. Anyway, I was like the most.
How did that fail? It didn't fail. How did it
didn't fail. It just got
How was
old.
there not 100 of them? Man, we were in college together. Why did we not connect?
Well, because you took business and I didn't.
Oh, gotcha.
Right? And we should have connected maybe because that would have been probably a really good time to do that. I never took business, and I knew nothing about business. Like I said, I was an art student, and I didn't pay taxes for the first couple of years because I just didn't realize that that I was a tax collector. I'm an unpaid tax collector for the government. And
that's what we all are.
Yeah, it never crossed my mind that that's what part of doing business was. I was so awful.
Awesome.
I was awful at business, and I went and I did all my shopping. I did everything. I was the entrepreneur that you read about that shouldn't exist today, for sure. And
the fact that you do exist today is great.
I don't know what it's a testament to except stick-to-itness.
Yeah, stubbornness. Like your 7-year college career.
Yeah, right. Stick to it till I find something that works for me. And finally, I found something that did work for me. I mean, it didn't always work for me. I had a partner in this other business that was an awful partnership and failed miserably. And I swore I would never have another partner. And then I did get another partner for this other business I own. I own part of Sequoia Coffee.
Right.
And my partner there is a great guy, and he's a great partner.
Yeah.
So as much as, I succeeded, I failed more than I succeeded for the first 18 years probably of my business career. I probably failed more than I succeeded.
Okay.
In my mind.
In your mind, and I think if you reframe that, I would say your education just continued in a non-formal way. So those failures were a bunch of really good lessons.
They were really good learning lessons for sure. And when I look back at all the times that I stumbled, all the times that I failed, I can look back now and I can learn from those. And when I do look back with a passionate eye, like it's so easy to look back at your own life with a critical eye. But if I look back at it with a passionate eye, like this poor kid didn't know anything, and how was he supposed to know all these things? I look back and I see I did do something really great. I had a great business with super personality and super. It was a charismatic business that attracted the attention of a lot of people.
Yeah.
I was also happened to be on the cusp of this new coffee wave, the third wave of coffee, and I got right into that. And as much as I say I started my business because of a passion for hospitality,
Yeah.
which is really true. I quickly fell in love with coffee and where that could take me, and the possibilities of just making coffee better and better and better. It didn't seem to end, and I loved that. So I got right into making coffee better all the time.
Yeah.
And coffee is a craft. It's part art, part science. And I'm far more of the artist kind of person. So I developed that side of my skills really well. And I can make an espresso perhaps better than a lot of people with my eyes closed. Yeah. Not because I'm better at it, just because I can feel it more than other people, perhaps. As time goes on and I'm starting to learn from my mistakes, I kind of hit a wall. It wasn't a ceiling because I wasn't interested in growth. I just wasn't interested in business anymore. I didn't understand what I was doing anymore. I didn't get that what I had was special, and I didn't get that I was special, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. And it was really hard. Like I felt like I was going to give up right there and then, and I didn't know where to turn. I began to read some books, and that started to give me some ideas. And then I got in contact with John from Table 9.
Yeah.
And I just reached out to him. I don't know why I reached out to him.
When was this, though?
6 years ago, maybe a little bit longer ago.
Okay. There's a huge gap there. So through that whole, you're talking about a long period of time where you were doing your business. When did you start 2% Jazz?
I started in 1996.
Okay.
So 25 years ago this year, I started.
And where was your first location?
At the Times Colonist.
At the Times Colonist.
And then I had one at the Entertainer that no one knows about because the Entertainer was a video store owned by Danny Dawkins.
Yeah.
And he brought me in to do a little kiosk there, and I had that little business. Yeah. And then I had little business. I had a catering business that I catered just to the film industry when that was going off in Victoria. Yeah. And I met lots of great, interesting people through that. Yeah. But then my first indoor place happened at the John Alfred Manor, which was the building right next to the Times Colonist.
That's right.
It used to be the old ICBC building. Yeah. And the architect who was going to build this building, he was also the developer, he came for coffee all the time, and he wanted me to go in there. So he made that happen for me. It was nothing that I did to move indoors. It was this architect and developer who brought me in because he believed in me, which was really special. And that was really neat. And that was the first of my growth of the brand, 2% Jazz, I think. That's when I started to think.
Did you start seeing the vision of what you could possibly do and what that looked like?
No, I wasn't into vision. I was more into, I was survival. Yeah. I was surviving for 18 years because I didn't know. I didn't have any education.
It's just like one foot in front of the other and just looking at the step, not looking at the 5 steps ahead or dreaming of the 5 steps ahead.
No, I didn't have any dreams beyond getting food onto my table. I had a new wife, 2 new children, third one coming, and I had no idea about how to be a grown-up business person.
That just amazes me. It amazes me as an entrepreneur. Like I'll do a origin story at some point as well, but I've always had a vision, and it, considering how successful you are and how articulate you are, and also how much planning. So this is interesting. So you started working with John.
Yeah, and he really started with me. I wanted financial help. I wanted him to build me a budget because I was sure that would solve all my problems.
Yeah, of course.
Just build me a budget and all my problems are solved forever.
Yeah.
And that certainly wasn't the case. The first couple months that we met every week. It was about me and about my wheel of life and all this hocus pocus crazy stuff that felt like nothing I wanted to talk about. I'm like, John, I'm so here just for my business. He's like,
I'm uncomfortable talking about this.
We're going to work on this.
Yeah, we'll get to the business.
We'll get there. Don't worry, Sam. And he talked me through a lot, and he really made me feel like it was okay for me to open up and discuss things more openly. And without taking a deep dive into myself and being okay, being open, and to be vulnerable and to be wrong, and to get help. Like, I think he was softening me up so he could offer me the help I needed.
Yeah.
or that I was going to start asking the questions I really needed to be asking of him. And yeah, it was amazing transformation for me, and it came at the same time that I was reading this book called Traction, which I know we've talked about before.
Yeah.
And it'll be in the show notes again, so we say. But
Hopefully.
this Traction book, it will be this Traction book and John happening to me at the same time was a convergence.
Yeah.
And there was no looking back for me.
Do you think at that point your level of understanding of business met with your aspirations, and the unlocking of it was the cash flow, or the give me a budget or something? It sort of like started you on that path?
I think if there was a convergence of the two, it wasn't way up here at a high level. It was a convergence way down here at the bottom level where I was just
like,
starting.
I'm either quitting or I'm going to do this.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like, as a person, I'm a determined person to get things done. I'm not a quitter of things.
Dude, 7 years at Camosun.
Right? Enough said. I should have quit 2 years in.
Jesus. That's the most shot. Like, I'm still going to be talking. I'm going to be talking about this in 30 years.
Oh, man. Just leave.
Okay.
7-year itch.
Jesus.
Not being a quitter and being an entrepreneur and being really stubborn and keeping on focused on what I wanted to build. Not that I had a future plan, but I had the get it done plan. And I just wanted to serve. I just wanted customers to be able to come to my coffee shop and feel better because they're there.
Yeah.
And that's always been my mantra.
Yeah.
And that's not a plan. It's not a vision. It's just who I am right there at my cafe. But if I wanted to grow it, I needed to convert who I am into a core values proposition, and then turn my core values into an operations manual, and then let go of everything and let people do it for me. Because I realized by the time I was talking to John about my ineptitudes, he was saying, here's what you can do really well. And I'm saying, but look at all the things I can't do very well. And he kept saying, look at all the things you can do really well.
Great perspective.
Yeah, it was really good perspective. And that got me thinking that I can do more in my business, and that I can be a business person. And that changed my passion. And man, I'm the kind of person, when I lock into something like a hobby or a passion, I am all in. And
I'm a believer of that. 100%. I'm convinced.
And this business idea that I can run a business and operate a business, and that can be a job. Not just being a business person. That's not a job to me. That's just a person. But
at this point, you were already in business 15 years.
I know. But was I, or did I just have a job? I built myself a job for 15 years.
Yeah,
John helped me turn my job into a business.
Yeah,
and that's the difference. That's the difference between where I am and where I've come from.
Yeah.
Is that I always built myself what I thought was a great job with multitude of problems. Man, the amount of times I bled and cried at the same time over my business, over my job. Yeah. It was, I couldn't
think that
count
goes
them.
without saying,
It does. As soon as I turned that passion for work into a passion for operating a business, that changed everything.
Yeah.
I've got 3 children and a wife. We had never been on a vacation ever. We had maybe gone camping, where I would join them partway through the camping trip, because that's all I had time for.
Yeah.
As soon as I made that switch, one of the first things I worked towards was taking time off with my family.
Yeah.
And within a year, I was in Croatia for a month with all of my family.
Wow.
With my phone basically turned off. And that's the difference between operating a business properly and being an entrepreneur who built themselves a job that they can't escape from.
So that's such a key point in business is, building a business, not a job.
Over COVID, I mean, honestly, I dropped a lot of my structure. And now, with the help of people like yourself,
getting it back in,
and mentors through the Bread and Butter Collective, I've been able to figure out that now's the time I really need to bring this back. And so here we are today, talking about a 25-year history in 25 minutes, and it feels like I never gave the old. There's so many fun stories I'd love to go over with you, but I know that we should really be focusing on the future, and we should be focusing on where we're at now. But I wouldn't change anything that I did in the past.
I just want to point something up because we're going to wrap up on this note, okay? Because I think it is very important for you and for me and our listeners. I just want to point this stat out. You went to college, 2-year program, and you did it in 7. You started a business that you just backed into, I guess, and you did it for 15 years before it actually became a business, right? And now here you are. So typically 2 years for business or 2 years for school, 4 to 5 years, 6 years maybe to get your business profitable and get all those systems you talk about that you have now in place. So you do everything double.
Maybe I'm just slow.
No.
Or maybe I'm thoughtful and persistent.
Thoughtful, and I think that's what I love about you.
Oh, thanks.
Sam,
it's better than being a slowpo.
Dude, I love you. I didn't know any of that, and even though I was there at the beginning of the school, and you were there for long after, I think I don't know where I was, but I wasn't still in school, and I think, but. Listen, you've done extremely well, and I'm better off for knowing that story.
We'll talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.
Bread and Butter Collective's membership includes the following local businesses: 2% Jazz, 900 Degrees Wood-Fired Pizzeria, Agrius, Big Wheel Burger, Blue Mountain Solutions, Bodega Tapas Wine Bar, Brentwood Bay Village Emporium, Nourish and Charlotte the Quail, Victoria Chocolate and Company, Drum Roaster Coffee, Habit Coffee, Foo Asian Street Food, the Culinary Arts Program at Camosun, Cafe Fantastico, Fall Epi, Harold Street Brewworks, Hey Happy, House of Botang, Hoyne Brewing, Jenny Marie's Cracker Company, La Pasta, La Rue Patisserie, Mocha House, Part and Parcel, Poco a Pinto Bar, Pizzeria Prima Strada, Rain Dogs, Roast, Table 9 Consulting, Sherwood Cafe and Bar, Sweets by Selena, The Collective Wine Bar and Kitchen, The Drake, Tapa Bar, Taco Stand Al Pastor, Took, The Whole Beast, The Wienery, and Zambries.
To hear more from the Bread and Butter Collective, go to checknews.ca/podcasts on Check Plus, or find us on your favorite podcasting platform.